Hi, friends. Hi, friends. Steve Yulberg here for our Wednesday LiveStream at Dulcimer Crossing. It is fully into the Christmas holiday season for those of you who celebrate Christmas. And those tunes are all around us. And you may be wanting to play those tunes on your dulcimers. But you also may have this question about why some tunes seem easier to play and others seem harder. And what I'd like to do is take a look at why that is by looking at Plagal and authentic Christmas carols. Now, Plagal is a weird word. Authentic, we probably know that one, but Plagal is a weird word, right? It's a word that refers to the way the tunes behave. And we've got a blog post about that I want to share just so that you can get to it and find it. But I've got to separate them. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. There, I got to do it that way. Okay, just that little technical thing. On the Dulcimer Crossing blog, here we are. And let me go get that link so I can put it in the chat in case you're watching this at a later time. Plagal tunes are the kinds of tunes, authentic tunes are the tunes where do is at the top and the bottom of the scale. And the tune basically stays between do and do. An example of that on the mountain dulcimer is, let me stop sharing so you can see this. Now this is a baritone mountain dulcimer. I've got it tuned in G at this moment. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. I just started at 7. I walked all the way down the scale. It stayed right in line where do and do are. Now let's take a look at that on the hammer dulcimer because it behaves like we would like it to behave. It stays between do and do. I'm starting, let's do it G because I just did that one. So in the G box, in the treble bridge, so I played in the box, which is where we expect the major scale to be. So it was a predictable thing. It was something I could find, and it was authentic because the tune stayed between do and do. There are another kind of tune, and this blog post goes in, just describes how this works on dulcimers. There are other tunes that tend to be centered around do, where do is the finishing place in the middle. They may or may not start on do, but they finish on do, and it's not at the bottom of the scale. So Away in the Manger is one of those tunes. I'm going to start on the hammer dulcimer for this one. Let's stay in G because we're there. So I started on this A that's in the G box. A is not the name of the key we're in. It is the 5th step of that. It's on Sol. I end on G, but I started on the D and I went down to D. So it clearly did exactly like our picture does in our graph here in the blog post. Let's share that again. It started on Sol. Away, away in a manger, no crib for a bed. The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars in the sky looked down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay. And that's where it ended up. And I ended up on the hammer dulcimer playing very linearly rather than horizontally. You know, I'm a fan of horizontal playing, but in order to play this tune, I can go horizontally. But I have to use the C sharp or the F sharp. I can't use the F natural. So I can play it horizontally, but visually it is the most striking when I go straight up and down. And there are tunes for which that's the best way to play. Now let's look at what happens when we're on the mountain dulcimer. Away in the manger. I have to go to the middle string. I start on the 4th fret, which is the 5th step of the scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. So I have to do a lot of leaving the string, the melody string, unless I want to go up way high and just play on the melody string. And this tune is one that uses every single step of the scale. So we're going to have to use all of those things. Now, let me just pause and see if there's anyone here who might have a question about what we're talking about. Yep, there we are. Refresh. And seeing no questions here, let me go on. I'm going to choose another tune. This one is Silent Night because it also starts on the 5th step of the scale. Silent Night. Let me go back to the mountain dulcimer. I'm going to start in the same place on the 4th fret. Now that is one where we started on 5. We didn't go below Do. We went up high, not all the way to the top, but we ended up finishing on Do down here. Away in the Manger, we started here and we had to go below Do all the way down to the Sol below. So Plagal tunes don't necessarily do the teeter-totter thing around the fulcrum of the Do. They run up and down. They behave differently, but the point is they finish on Do, but they go outside of the scale, above or below. So you can't pick your starting note as you're with Plagal tunes. You can't pick your starting note and say, this is the kind of key I'm in, because if I start on a D, this is a baritone tuned to G, D, G, and that makes this a G, G, A, B, C sharp, D. If I start on this D, I'm not in the key of D because that's not where I finish. I finish on G. Now let's try that tune on the hammer dulcimer. So I'm starting on that D again because I'm going to go a lot higher, and I'm going to need this C sharp and not this, or the F sharp and not the F natural. I'm going to start over here. Let's do that again where I play it more clearly. I added some other fancy stuff in there. I hope that wasn't too confusing. But what I'm showing is, good morning, not yet. Okay. Welcome, Talon. So the way tunes behave is a good predictor of how you're going to play them on the instrument. Christmas carols are one time when a lot of people try to sing. And so one of the things that happens is we try to sing and we find out they're not in our key. Now, why is that? It looked like it was going to be fine. Why can't I sing it? And it could be because of the character of the tune. So if I do Friendly Beasts, I'm going to go back to the hammer dulcimer and then I'll do it in the mountain dulcimer. I said the donkey. It kind of stays right around here. It doesn't really go out of the box. Now, if I know that D is a good note for me and I don't have to go higher than D, it stays within 6 notes. Maybe that fits my range, my vocal range. And that's why that can work. Now let's try that. I'm in G now. Let's try it. I said the donkey all shaggy and brown. I carried his mother uphill and down. I carried his mother to Bethlehem town. I said the donkey shaggy and brown. Now, in that location, it happens to be great for my morning voice. Brown, that G is not hard to get to. D, the D is a lot lower. So I go up an octave. I said the donkey all shaggy and brown. And this is where knowing where your voice is placed can make a difference. But when you're picking keys for Christmas carols, sometimes we're stuck with the keys that are in the books because we have somebody playing accompaniment for us. And the accompaniments are really well suited for sopranos to sing melody. And that's on a keyboard. And keyboard players, there are several. I've known several who say, I play up to 2 sharps and 3 flats, nothing more. Just like I've said that horn players tend to like flats and string players tend to like sharps, by name. Sometimes people choose the singing key based on the um, playing skills of the instrumentalists, and that does sometimes works out, doesn't always work out. And that's why capos and things are really helpful on chromatic instruments. On diatonic instruments, a little different. But let's use the hammer dulcimer as an example now, and let's move this around. The hammer dulcimer is very amenable to transposing. We're going to do this in all the different places that I can on this instrument. Not bad. That was A. Let's go way down the bottom to E. We already did D. There is G. We did A, D, G, E. Now let's do C. I said a donkey all shaggy and brown. I carried his mother up hill and down. I carried his mother to the town. I said a donkey shaggy and brown. And that's F. I said a donkey all shaggy and brown. I carried his mother up hill and down. I carried his mother to Bethlehem town. I said the donkey shaggy and brown. So on the hammer dulcimer, the easy thing to do is just move to new boxes. On the mountain dulcimer, I can do a similar thing. And what I'm doing is using a 3-finger capo. So I'm using basically the same shapes I used in the open position, but using 3 fingers as a capo at the 3rd fret. And that put me in D. So I can try it in E. Now I could do it on the mountain dulcimer because of the way the frets are laid out. I could do it at 0 because this is a major song. I could do it at 3, and I can do it at 4 using the 6.5 fret. So that gives me the possibility. There's 3 different places that I might be able to play a major song and just test out how it matches my voice. So this shows the flexibility of both instruments, but also the reason why sometimes songs don't work. Sometimes they just don't fit with us in our voices. But mostly what I want us to be able to do is to be able to figure out, when we're trying to figure things out by ear, where do we go? So the way to do that is figure out, where does it start? Where does it end? And that'll help us have our boundaries, our locations for us to be able to play it. Now, let me ask if there's any questions about that at this point. Or if there's another Christmas carol that you want to figure out and want to write it into your into the chat here. Oops, I lost where I was. Let's get back here. Okay. Friendly beast. There's good question. Good observation, Jim. Friendly beasts. Da 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 da. So it is still using all the notes that belong to the scale, but it doesn't make it plagal because it still stays within basically within do, and that's one of those special cases because the tune is not really centered around do. It has one little exception. And here we are, we're trying to describe, it's like trying to catch a dolphin. I'm gathering. I think I've never tried, but I'm betting those boys are really slippery. I've tried to catch fish and they're really slippery and they got scales. Dolphins don't have scales. So we have this living thing and we want to describe it with static, always stay the same rules. And our rules are more like templates by which we can measure things. Yeah. And the word plagal comes from ethnomusicologists who are going into cultures not of their own to try to describe what's going on with the musics of those peoples. And they notice that things tend to fall into one of two categories. They tend to stay between do and do, or they tend to center around do. And they gave this broad characterization. And just like the template idea, they're not from there. So they're describing this from outside looking in as a way of saying this is a good way we can figure it out. I borrow that and use that language because particularly on the hammer dulcimer, it helps me know which shape I'm going to try to play it in. On the mountain dulcimer, it helps me know which tuning I'm going to use. We're not going to talk about that today, but I mentioned that in the blog post about which tuning tends to be the one we're going to use. I know some people just don't like retuning at all. That's fine. You don't have to. I think I want to retune because I don't want to miss all the variety that comes when I do some retuning. Let's see if we can think. We've had Joy to the World and Friendly Beasts. The Plagal ones have been Away in the Manger and Silent Night. Let's see if we can. First Noel. There's an interesting one because it doesn't end on do. First Noel starts on the F sharp, which is the third step of the scale, and it ends on F sharp, which is the third step of the scale. So it is an unusual one for the world of music. Not a lot of songs end on the three. Most end at home. So this is one of the exceptions. Let's see, what's another one? As we get into the tunes that are toward the late 1800s, the rules change a bit. A lot of the Christmas carols are much older than that. And I'm focusing on major ones at this point. Let's see. So Deck the Halls is more like the Friendly Beasts, where we go below do for just a minute, just to pick up that T do that's just below. I agree, Talon, that retuning gives it a different voice. Yeah. And you've got that one with two necks that you can tune one way and one the other way. Let's see. Still, 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 the Austrian carol. Starts on the four, just like Away in the Manger and Silent Night. It goes up. It only goes below do for that T do note. Thinking of one more that we might take a look at. Three Ships. I saw three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Saw three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning. Some people don't put those two things. There you go. And that's what I'm doing right here, Talon, doing part of a song in D and some of it on the middle string. Now, this is an instrument that's tuned to G, so it doesn't sound in D. Let's go to the hammer dulcimer and do the same tune, the Three Ships tune. Is that second part of the tune that some people use and some people don't, which comes from another carol. But I hope you feel a little more equipped to go search out the authentic and Plagal Christmas carols that you're playing, and then be able to have a way to start in order to play them the way you want to play them. And I'm going to just remind you that, let's see, whoops, we don't want that. I'm glad that didn't give me problems. I had something open that I didn't need open. Let's go to my... Dulcimer Crossing is a proud sponsor of the Quarantine Christmas concerts, the concert series that's coming up next week, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. The faculty who have participated in the past two Quarantine festivals are going to be playing. My concert set is on, let me see, I've been telling myself it's Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday next week. And I believe my concert set, 3:54 my time, which is Pacific time, on Monday. So there are details there. It's $25 for the whole thing. It's ridiculously cheap. This is such a Christmas bargain, you won't even believe it. And for over 50 different performers. So if you like dulcimers and you like Christmas music, that's a place to go for that. Aha, so starting at some of it on the A string and then going to the D. Yes, and then playing a little more across the frets. Yeah, that makes some good sense, Talon. Well, thank you, friends. I will be back next week with live stream on the 23rd. And I look forward to seeing you then. If you like, some of you are submitting some ideas for topics to talk about, and I am grateful for that. If you have a topic you would like to suggest, please write to me, steve@dulcimercrossing.com. Are you not typing? I put my thing there. In order to let me know what your idea is. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, 4 bits per performer. Yeah, everybody gets not very much time. Anyway, you can get a really good deal. And of course, you can always tip your performers as well. So I want to thank you for today, and I will look forward to seeing you next week, if not at the Quarantine concerts on Monday before then. Tonight's the Advent evening prayer if you'd like to join us at 6 p.m. Let me give you the link to that as well. Here's where you can sign up. It's a play along service. Let me get, there we go. Sign up, and there's a worship booklet you can use to play along. This is week 3.